Hey guys, welcome. So today I have an awesome little knife to share with you, which is the Benchmade 556 Mini Griptilian. I've actually wanted this knife for a while now. It was sort of sitting in my wish list, but because of the price I tried avoiding it. But now I finally get to handle it and see what it's all about. I instantly knew when I first held it that this knife was going to be my favorite. It fit my hand really good and it was super comfy, and it also had the axis lock, which is really fun to fidget with. Anyways, let's get into this blue metallic box, which I've actually opened a few weeks ago. I just wanted to get a taste of this knife before sharing any of my opinions so that I actually know what I'm talking about. But moving on to the box, first thing you'll see when you open this knife will be a Benchmade bag, which stores the knife inside, and underneath that you'll find the Benchmade use and care manual. It tells you many different things like how to sharpen your knife, maintain it, it explains Benchmade's limited lifetime warranty. Alright, so let's take the actual knife out of its bag and see what it's all about. First impressions about this knife, which was about 2 weeks ago, were actually really great, except for the knife's action. The action, which was really tight, where you couldn't at all open the knife with your thumb, but after I loosened it with a T10 torque screw, it improved a lot. But anyways, before we get into anything deeper, here are the features and the specs. This knife features black Neural GTX plastic handles, a drop point blade, a satin blade finish, and what appears to be a saber or V-grind, and of course the common Benchmade axis lock. The Mini Griptilian is probably the most diverse knife you could get compared to other knives Benchmade offers, because you can actually choose whatever blade style, handle material, handle color, and more in one knife. And there's also multiple options to choose from, so you'll most likely find one of them that fits your taste. The blade steel is just CPM S30V, which is not a bad steel, but of course not awesome. It's sort of in the middle but leaning more to the good side. So like I said earlier, you can actually get many different blade styles, which can range from a tanto blade, a sheep's foot blade, and what I have here, a drop point blade. So let's check out the dimensions before you jump into any conclusions. Here's a short size comparison clip between the Mini Grip and other cool looking knives. And why not some gaming controllers? So as you've seen, it's obvious that the Mini Griptilian is a pretty small knife compared to the others like the Rat 1 and the CEO. It also has a blade just under 3 inches, which prevents it from being restricted in some places. Ergonomics and grippiness are really comfortable on the Griptilian. It has jimping on many places on the knife, like the top where it extends farther, some on the back, and also where you would place your index finger. I guess the finger choil. The texture on these scales are also really helpful for getting a better grip, but in some cases the thought of it being too aggressive does pass my mind, which makes me sort of gravitate towards the G10 version in this case. So the action has been doing amazing after I've loosened the pivot and broke it in. It's really drop shutty now, which makes it really easy to fidget with, and it also runs on 2 phosphor bronze washers. The really smooth and drop shutty action lets you open the knife a few more ways, like with the reverse flick, the regular thumb flick, and you could also pull down the lock and open it with the flick of your wrist. Make sure you time this right, because otherwise it just bounces back like shown here. The pocket clip is tip up only carry, which doesn't carry that deep into your pocket, but you can reverse it to either side. I use my thumb and index finger to manipulate the lock so that my thumb doesn't get all beat up. So the axis lock, dual thumb studs, and the reversible clip helps keeps its position as a fully ambidextrous knife. Now, another thing to note about the Neural GTX handle model is that it has a closed back, which is kind of a downside if you get your knives dirty easily, because it doesn't allow dirt to pass through, unlike the G10 version, which has the open back. Also, another different feature about the two knives are the pocket clips. On the G10 version, you have a deep carry clip, which lets the whole knife disappear into your pocket, unlike the pocket clip on this version, which doesn't. So you've probably heard of people saying they had problems with the axis lock, which I think is called axis lock bind or stick. It's when you open the knife really hard and the axis lock would kind of get stuck against, I guess, the blade tang. I actually did have this problem when I took it out of the box, but it did go away pretty quickly, probably about 2 days, which differs depending on how many times you open and close it. Alright, so moving on to the nitpicks and the negatives. Starting off with the blade centering, as you can see here, it's far off to the left, probably because I loosened the pivot too much, but that's also probably why there's a bit of blade play with this knife. Next thing is kind of a nitpick, which is about the texture on the scales. Like I said earlier, they do get a bit too aggressive in sometimes, which is not that big of a deal. Alright, so let's wrap it up. I think the 556 Mini Griptilian is my favorite knife so far. Like I said many times, the size and the weight lets me carry it around places without it bothering me and banging up against my leg while walking. The smooth action and the axis lock is the best combination for a knife to fidget with. Also, the 3-inch blade lets you carry this knife around legally, and it also won't scare non-knife people when you open it. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and hit the like button to see more content. Or if you didn't enjoy this video, feel free to dislike or unsub. Either way, thanks so much for checking out this video.